They say every pilot has that one story, that one landing they can't ever forget. You know, the type, the crazy, wild one that makes you rethink every decision you've ever made. We all have our war stories. The 40-knot crosswinds that tried to spin your multi-million-dollar aircraft into a weather vane. Or when the landing gear decided to take a vacation inside the fuselage without warning. Every pilot tells their version of that story, trying to outdo the other, usually over a cold beer, sitting around a hangar somewhere. But I'm about to tell you a story that beats them all. And here's the kicker: it's not my worst landing. It's my best. But it's also the most illegal landing in aviation history. Let me set the scene for you. I was flying MedEvac 73 Kilo, a Learjet. That's the kind of plane that makes people turn their heads when it's on the tarmac, sleek and fast, built for urgency. The call comes in from air traffic control, smooth, professional. MedEvac 73 Kilo, your designated landing zone is Pearson International, runway 24 left. A little crackle in the headset, and I know something's wrong. I glance out the window, and the ground is approaching too quickly. I'm 5 miles off course, descending over a populated area. This isn't good. I key the mic, trying to sound calm, even though my stomach's already in a knot. Yeah, about that, Pearson. We're going to have to take a rain check. I'm looking at a nice stretch of blacktop just ahead. For lanes, freshly paved, barely any traffic. Looks perfect. I hear the air traffic controller's voice crackle through again, this time with more strain. Sir, that's Interstate 95. You cannot land a Learjet on a public highway. I look at the picture of my daughter, Lily, on the console, her big smile looking back at me, brighter than the whole instrument panel combined. The clock was ticking, and it wasn't just the jet engines I was worried about. Felony's such a strong word, I mutter. I prefer to call this an unprecedented aerial maneuver driven by extenuating circumstances. I could practically hear the disbelief in the controller's voice. This is insane, 73 Kilo. You cannot land there. But at that point, I wasn't listening. I had a deadline, and my daughter's life was on the line. But let's rewind a little bit. 24 hours earlier, my life was a lot quieter. I was in my backyard, attempting to assemble a swing set. Yeah, I know, doesn't sound very dramatic. But it gets better. You see, my engineering skills, honed on supersonic jets, were suddenly useless when I was trying to figure out how to put together a Swedish swing set with instructions that looked like they were written by a philosopher in another language. Lily, my 10-year-old co-pilot, was watching me, wrapped in her favorite blanket, perched on the porch steps. "Dad, you sure you know what you're doing?" she asked, her voice small, but full of that kid-like concern. "Sweetheart," I grunt, trying to force a bolt into a hole that's clearly a millimeter too small. "I've flown fighter jets. I can handle this." But the truth is, it wasn't going well. That's when she appeared, Brenda Higgins. The worst kind of neighbor. A walking rulebook. An HOA enforcer with no soul, only bylaws. "Leo, the swing set," she says, eyes scanning it with the intensity of a detective. "It's beige." I stared at her. "Beige?" I repeated. "It's the color the thing came in." But no, Brenda had a problem with it. The HOA's color code didn't include beige. "It's not an earth tone," she said, like it was the moral failure of the century. "Brenda," I sighed, trying to hold my frustration in check. "It's for my daughter. She's been looking forward to this." Brenda's gaze flickered to Lily, and then back to me, cold, calculating. "Rules are the bedrock of a harmonious community," she said. And with a quick checkmark on her clipboard, she disappeared back into her gray little world, Leah VYing me standing there, bolt in hand. Later that day, as I was still reeling from the latest HOA conflict, the phone rang. It was Dr. Anna Kararma, Lily's transplant surgeon. She didn't even wait for pleasantries. "We have a liver, Leo. It's a perfect match." I didn't hear anything else. My mind just started spinning, and I was there, hugging Lily, telling her they found one. And, of course, she asked if she could have ice cream. And I said, "Ice cream factory, sweetheart. Anything you want." But there was no time to celebrate yet. I'd already set up a plan, a private MedEvac jet. I had a buddy, Mike, who was a top-notch pilot, but I wasn't about to leave anything to chance. As we prepared for takeoff, though, disaster struck. The transport vehicle carrying the organ was stuck in traffic. A protest. Brenda's protest, no less. She was out there, in a pink tracksuit, holding up the entire highway for what? Bike lanes. Yes, you heard that right. I wasn't HOA-ing it. I glanced at Lily's picture again and knew what had to be done. I switched into full military mode. This wasn't just about landing a plane, it was about SAVYing my daughter's life. I called Mike. Forget the plan. We're going to the Oregon. I need you to clear me a runway over I-95. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. You're insane, Leo. I know. Just get it done. And that's how I found myself landing a Learjet on a highway in South Carolina. Traffic scattered as Mike swooped the jet over, creating a clear runway for me to touch down. The roar of the engines sent cars swerving, some of them pulling off to the shoulder. And when I finally brought the jet down on the asphalt, it was perfect. A flawless landing. The wheels kissed the pavement with a squeal, and I brought it to a full stop. Just a moment of quiet. And then the sirens. The first cop to arrive was Officer Miller. He didn't even try to pretend to understand what was happening. I'm going to need you to turn off the multi-million-dollar aircraft in the middle of my highway, he yelled, his mustache twitching in disbelief. I can't do that, officer, I said. I'm waiting for a delivery. Just as I said that, the medical transporter guy showed up, sprinting with the organ. The officer looked at the cooler in my hands, the frantic pace of the whole thing, and nodded, almost resigned. Well, I'll be damned, he muttered. As if things weren't crazy enough, I ended up arrested. My pilot's license was suspended. Charges were coming from every direction. But as they led me away in cuffs, I couldn't help but smile. I had done what I had to do. Lily's surgery was a success, and she was going to make it. Back at home, the media was HOA-ing a field day. I was the jet dad, the hero who saved his daughter at any cost. But the HOA wasn't done with me. Brenda and the board wanted me out of the neighborhood. They wanted me gone for breaking all their precious bylaws. But I had a plan, and it involved Slick Rick the contractor. You know the kind, slick hair, bright smile, and a knack for making the impossible happen. He'd been watching my story unfold, and when I told him I needed a secret hangar under my backyard, he didn't bat an eye. We can make it happen. So we did. While the HOA watched, Rick and his crew started digging. From the outside, it looked like they were building a pool. But what they didn't know was that under that pool was a full-on underground hangar for my jet. And I wasn't about to leave the HOA's interference in my rear VYEW mirror. A week later, the backyard was finished, and I threw a barbecue for the whole neighborhood. Even Brenda showed up, though you could practically feel the heat radiating off her. Let me show you all something, I said, grinning like a man who knew exactly what was coming. I pressed a button, and the ground beneath my feet shifted. A runway, a jet hangar, right under my backyard. The entire neighborhood gasped. And Brenda? Well, her face turned from smug to completely, utterly confused. She tried to call the cops, but Officer Miller was already there, laughing. Actually, ma'am, Rick chimed in, holding up a permit. This is all above board. Fully permitted. You signed off on it. The VY Deo of her meltdown went VY Ral. The HOA board was forced to remove her. And me? I gotta keep my jet. And my daughter's future. So here I am today. Lily's better. We're looking forward to a weekend trip to Disneyland, not Paris. And the HOA? They've got a new set of problems. So, I guess the real question is, what would you have done? Would you have taken the jet out for a spin? Or would you have let the bureaucracy win? Let me know in the comments. And if you think Brenda got exactly what she deserved, hit that like button. Don't forget to share this story, and let's see what kind of trouble we can get into next.